Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Kevin and this is the Red Pilling channel. So I want to discuss a little bit about what's happening in Gaza. This war, how this whole thing about genocide. Is there a genocide happening? Is genocide happening in Israel? Is Israel committing a genocide? I think what inspired me to finally make this video, which I've kind of held off doing, well, Tucker Carlson is in the Holy Land, and he's, trying to get some answers about what is happening down there, and interviewing some Christian leaders that kind of answering their perspective, and it seems to be less about Hamas, but more about just how Israel has treated Christians and kind of getting their perspective on what their experience has been like. And so, yeah, I know Tucker's not gonna, I know people are not gonna like it. There's a lot of people that won't, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that respond to his videos, his way of doing it, and anyway, people will find a reason to get mad at his interview. But with that being said, first I want to say that this is not about Jews, and it's not about Israel. It's not even about Muslims, Arabs, whatever. It's about, to me, it's about the Israeli government and how the United States has handled this issue, and about what certain goals are being met and who's pushing certain agendas. And I agree, I don't think these agendas are actually being pushed these are supported by Americans or even Israelis who live in Israel. So try to calm down and not get so triggered at this video. Please have enough open mind. No one's an expert, and as for Tucker doing what he's doing, it's an upgrade on journalistic integrity. Your job is to try to get answers as a journalist and try to get the best you can. If Tucker misses it a little bit, that's okay. It's not the most important issue that America should be focusing on anyways. There's a lot of issues we should be focusing on, and Israel and Gaza should not be the number one focus. But, so yes, is Israel committing a genocide? That's the title of the video. Now, before I go, I'm sorry, and this is important, the left are the real anti-Semitism really comes from the left, because the left hate this idea of colonization. And, well, Israel is seen as stolen land, much like they view our nation. They view that white people came over here and just killed a bunch of, natives that lived here, Americans first, and stole the land. And so, that's why the left can use this no humans illegal type of thing, because they don't even think we're real land. They don't think America's truly sovereign, because they don't think we have a right to be here anyways. And so they say the same with Israel. And they do, interesting enough, they see Jews as white, and a little bit too Western. And so therefore they don't like that. And, well, again, they only defend Gaza because they only look at their skin color. They're brown, and so you got to defend the brown person, and that's what they go by. That's what they stand for. And so therefore they don't think Israel should exist, and therefore they don't think Jews should exist. In fact, if anyone actually wants Jews extinct, it's actually obviously the Muslims, or jihadis. I should say the jihadis. Okay, not Muslims, jihadis. The jihadis, yes, the terroristic, the political groups, extremists, yes, they want Jews extinct, but so do the leftists that seem to unite with the radical Hamas and stuff. They want Jews extinct. But here's the thing, I could also say the same with the Zionists as well. The Zionists donor class, particularly, it's the donor class and certain Jewish extremists that don't want Palestinians or even Christians, or Muslim. They don't want anyone in the Holy Land but them, because they believe it's their land God gave them that land, and therefore no one else should be there. Now, in the past, yes, it has been relatively, you could say, freer. Christians, Muslims, obviously Jews can kind of work there. They pass through. So, it's, I guess, a freer area than most of the Middle East, you could say. It's not like that's under Sharia law. It's freer than Iran. Okay, yeah. But, I mean, there's definitely there's definitely lack of respect, and there's definitely goals by the extremists that want to take more land for themselves. And it's from both sides. If you really think about it, Jews have been killed, and so have Arabs and Gazans that have lived there, that have natively lived there as well. In fact, a lot of the Gazans have lived there longer than a lot of these Jews have, because a lot of Jews are mostly converts that are actually European and aren't even really Semitic. I mean, there's some that are mixed race, but a lot of them are, there's a lot of, they think the Ashkenazi, they're European. They're not even Semitic. You think Netanyahu is Semitic at all? I mean, look at him. I think he's from Poland originally, by the way. Yeah, found that on X, and that has been confirmed. He is from Poland, a Polish Jew, and looks nothing like Jesus. So there's that. But anyway, whatever. They're Jews. They believe it's their land now, and well, it is. It's been colonized and it's been resettled. So after Nazi Germany, the Jews came, and it's now their country. But the problem is, you have to also remember, before the Israel became a nation again, it was mostly Arab. Now, yes, it was colonized. It was kind of controlled by the Brits, but it was still mostly Arabs. And, well, now it's mostly European, not even Arab. I think the majority are technically more European than actual Arab. So, especially in Tel Aviv, a lot of that's Arab. A lot of that's European, Ashkenazi. A lot of them came to Israel after Nazi Germany. When it was settled, it was designed to give Jews, a place they can live without being persecuted. So generally, we supported that. Okay, but obviously, it's less Arab now. Native, which are Arab, they're the natives of that area, and so yeah, a lot have been killed for that, and a lot of it's because of the wars, how we've conducted the foreign policy, displacing them. So again, with that being said, again, genocide is, targeting a specific group of people, and it can be done without actually killing them. So, I mean, like Nazi Germany, they put you in gas chambers. I hope I wasn't redundant on that, but that's one way of doing it. But also could just be making it hell living there. It's really just destroying their culture and destroying that land that natives built, and it can be even causing a displacement. So, yes, Hamas did attack first, but Mossad, which is one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world, Netanyahu knew potentially an attack was coming, and nothing was happening. Just like 9/11, I think we were informed that it was happening, but they never told the FBI. I think the CIA was notified by Mossad, and then CIA never told FBI. So, like, what's going on here? So, I mean, this is just a question, and I don't know, this haven't confirmed yet, but did the Israelis allow an attack to justify a war with Hamas? Because in order to justify it, because 86% of the people that have died have been women and children, not really Hamas at all. Now, yes, the propaganda and a lot of people, the opposition that responds to this will generally tell you, and I heard this a lot from people, that could this be that Hamas shields themselves in the situations, knowingly that if Israel attacks them, Israel's going to be the ones accused of doing genocide. Well, yeah, but either way, it's effective and it's working because Israel hasn't changed its tactics on how to effectively take out Hamas. If the goal is really about taking Hamas, but I really don't know if that's the goal. If it was ever really the goal about taking out Hamas, other than theatric stuff, because I know there is an interest to take more land in Israel, like for Israel. Like, for example, Gaza, I know the greater Israel wants, they want, and this has been a project, and this is indeed confirmed. I'm not bluffing on this. In fact, you can even go on YouTube and it's on there. You better watch it before it's censored, because I know a lot of people don't want this to get out there. That's why there's a lot of attempts to take down anything critical of Israel, because, people are noticing that the Greater Israel project that they want to use the United States to accomplish for them does involve more attempts to create more resettlements, because the goal is to, because they believe it's their land, and obviously they believe that there's more of land out there that actually belongs to them. I believe that's obviously the West Bank of Gaza. They believe parts of Turkey, a sliver of Turkey, I think Egypt, Jordan, or parts of it at least. No, yeah, definitely parts of Egypt. I think Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. They all, a lot of the Zionists will tell you that some of that land belongs to them. And biblically, historically, that probably was true when God gave them that land. However, Israel, well, they got displaced, and when God judged them, because it was a judgment when the Jews rejected Christ. It was a judgment of God, and they got displaced, and it was no longer their land anymore, part of that land anymore. Now, there's a lot who believe that God never broke their promises, and now they're coming back. So people see that as a fulfillment of the end times, that Jews come back to their land. However, Israel, the new modern state of Israel, was founded on secularism and nationalism, not under divine promise. So this whole thing, using justification, okay, we got to take this land because of what the historical Israel was, even though a lot of these Zionists are atheists, they don't even believe the Bible, but they can kind of use it to justify taking more land, because the goal is they want more Jewish people to move there, and so they need more space. And they want a pure Jewish state. They don't really want Arabs or Christians there. They just don't. So the goal is to, so there's two ways, and Netanyahu's mouth was, I want to ethnically cleanse Gaza. And there's a lot of ways to do that too, people. So even if you could argue that, yeah, Hamas may be putting themselves in children's way to make Israel look bad, it doesn't change the fact that Israel is using these wars to make things hard for Gazans, so they would leave. And then when Israel takes control of them, then they can rebuild them, and then more Jews can go there. So it is removing people from their land. And I say that, or taking over their land. I mean, if you think about it, there is a white genocide happening here in America and all over the West. I mean, they're importing people from third world countries, and they're replacing the white population. So that maybe they're not physically killing them, but it's deliberate, because they're sending them here to replace our culture and our values and displace them. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. So people are going to come at me and say that's still not necessarily genocide. Well, or that's not proven, whatever. But I'm not, even if it was true, and even if Tucker misses the point that this is not a genocide in what we feel the definition should be, I don't think it changes the fact that there's efforts to to, colonize more land so they can, put more Jews there because they want a pure Jewish state again. So that doesn't change the fact. And what do you think is going to happen? It is going to cause chaos. So either way, it's a chaos. And to me, and we are footing the bill to do that. So, and Israel has made some really reckless decisions in this war. I mean, that's why I'm anti-war, because people die, innocent women and children die in these wars, and I do think Israel's benefiting from it because they accomplish their donors that want that. Want that. And it's hard for me not to be convinced of possible genocide when you actually have politicians openly calling for it. Like Randy Fine, he's a congressional congressman here in the United States. He's Jewish American, hardcore Zionist, overtly staunchly pro-Israel. He has a video, not AI, but because I follow him, he has a video on, or a picture, I mean, on his phone showing "kill them all." So he's saying kill all the Gazans. So even if this is just a war and innocent people die in a war, there seems to be people in Israel's parliament and in our own Congress that are cheering for a genocide. I know Lindsey Graham does. I mean, he literally said it, kill all the right people. So, there are people who fantasize it, and that's what I think is convincing people to believe it. So, and that's the problem. Some say that that's not a valid source because that's only one person. Well, okay, maybe, but it's still a person that said it, and there's definitely more out there that believe it. And it's wrong because it's, to me, collective guilt. You're punishing the children for, I guess, the sins of Hamas. And the thing I'm getting kind of tired of is if you even sympathize with Gaza more, just a little bit, you get called so you're pro Hamas. No, I don't believe that. I think the left is pro Hamas because they've openly said so, but I don't think everyone that sympathizes with Gaza more is necessarily pro Hamas. And I think it's mostly, I think the right is not necessarily anti-Israel. None of the people on the right, even like Tucker and stuff, no one has denied the right of Israel to exist. The Christians there haven't denied that, but there seems to be goals for both. Yes, there are the Muslims that don't want Israel to exist, but there are also Jewish extremists that want that. That also want that land to themselves. So it's tug of war. It's a land grab at the end of the day. My problem is using God as a justification to do it, and that a lot of politicians do. Well, it's God's people. Okay, whatever. But doesn't justify murder. Doesn't justify stealing land in the name of God. And and that's what I think is happening. That's just me. I've done a lot of research on this, and the way this war has made me really uncomfortable. And even if it was by Hamas starting it, it does seem like people are using this war as a justification to maybe think genocide is okay. I don't know. So I don't know what else to say anymore on this, but that's where my thoughts are on that. And if you disagree with me on this, I understand. Like I said, this is not the most important issue of the world, so we shouldn't allow this issue to be the end-all be-all of all things. I'd say if you feel like you can't agree with me on this, I would go research. I would go outside of Fox News or any of the corporate media, because they're all Zionists. They're all pro-Israel leaning, and they're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna get the whole truth. Now, I don't know if I said it earlier in the beginning of the video, but I heard Tucker may be sitting down with Huckabee, so I don't know. That was going to be interesting because I expect Tucker to be a lot more aggressive on that one, but I don't know. So anyway, if you like this video, please let me know what you think. I mean, But my thing is, if I think we have to stop supplying Israel weapons by selling them weapons, because if they're going to be using our tax dollars, whether it's done by genocidal intent or not, it still doesn't hurt. It still doesn't look good to us, and it's like, why are we funding this? And we are funding it. We are technically doing that. So, intent or not, we are kind of doing so by doing that, and we do sell them weapons. So it is, kind of, I don't know. So again, if you like this video, please let me know what you think down below. If you have any better sources, show me, but I don't know. This is where I stand for now. So sorry to disappoint some of you all, but anyway, if you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notification. The Red Pilling channel out.